Welcome to another episode of GeekOutdoors.com. So the cameras on our smartphone are getting better every single day, and I think it's absolutely amazing what you're able to do with these smartphones. But there is still a difference between using your smartphone camera versus using a normal quote-unquote real camera like what I'm using right here. This is a Panasonic G85 4K camera. And so today I wanted to show you some real-world differences between the two and how even though the technology has gotten so much better on these smartphones, there is still a difference, and it's primarily in some key areas. Now the smartphone that I'm going to be using, this is an LG G5, so it is older. And so the newer Samsung Galaxies and iPhones, you do get better quality, but those differences are still going to be there. And so the first difference I want to point out right now is the overall video quality. So right now I am shooting this at 4K resolution, and whenever I switch over to my smartphone, it's also going to be in 4K. And there is a difference in quality. You could have the exact same resolution, but the overall quality of your video, the amount of detail, the colors and everything else, it's normally always going to be better with a camera, specifically if it's one that's meant to shoot 4K. And so that's when you're really going to be able to tell the difference between the two. So right now I'm shooting with my Panasonic G85. So let's go ahead and switch over to using my LG G5 at 4K. Okay, so now I'm shooting this at 4K on my smartphone, and as you could probably tell right away, there is a difference in the overall video quality despite having the same resolution. And this is even more noticeable whenever you are watching this on bigger screens like a computer monitor, or better yet, on your television. And so this is where I see the biggest difference right away when I'm looking at a video from a smartphone versus a camera, and especially if it's at a 4K resolution. The video quality overall, for me, it's almost always going to be better using my camera versus using my smartphone. And so now the biggest difference that I see between a camera and a smartphone is this whole bokeh, blurry background effect that you get with a camera. Now, even though smartphones are able to do this nowadays through a lot of AI technology, it's still not as natural looking and as dreamy as you would get with a camera, because of the simple fact that with the camera, the way you get this whole blurry background is with this thing called aperture. And that all has to do with the lens size that you have on your camera. And so obviously the camera lenses on a smartphone are way smaller, and so they can't bring in as much light as you can with the camera. And with the camera, you have a huge amount of different types of lenses that you could buy with all these different aperture settings or focus settings. So all of this has to do with your lens, it's when it opens and closes just like it does with your eye. And that's what causes this whole blurry background or bokeh effect. So let's go ahead and look at this through the smartphone. Okay, so now I'm trying this out with my smartphone, and as you could probably tell, the background is really clear. It's definitely nowhere near as blurry as when I have it with my camera. And as I stated a little bit earlier, there are a lot of technologies and AI available in the newer smartphones nowadays that will simulate this whole bokeh effect, but it's still not anywhere near as good as what you would get with a camera, especially considering you have so many options when it comes to lenses, which you simply cannot get with a normal smartphone. Okay, so I'm doing another blurry background test now with my camera. And here, this is more close up. So as you could probably tell, everything in the background, it's really blurry unless I decided to focus on it like that. But whenever I come back to the objects in the foreground, that's when the blurry effect really comes into play when you're doing these very close shots. So let's go ahead and try this same thing out with my smartphone. And so now I'm doing this blurry background test with my smartphone. And whenever you have objects close to it, it does work better, but still nowhere near the levels of what I'm able to get with my camera. For fast website hosting and top-notch customer service and features, check out Siteground, the preferred service used at GeekOutdoors.com. For more information, check out the affiliate link in the description area below. And so the final area where I see a huge difference is in low light performance. This is where having a camera with much bigger lenses, it's going to be a huge advantage. And this is one area where smartphones still have a long way to go because of the simple fact that the lenses are a lot smaller. Even though they're using a lot more AI to get more out of dark scenes, it's still going to be an advantage for cameras. So let's go ahead and try this out with the smartphone. And so now I'm trying this out with my smartphone, and as you could probably tell, the quality is definitely not as good. And when you're looking at this on a bigger screen, there's going to be a lot of graying because the camera lens is trying to get in as much light as possible. But since we have a very small camera lens, there's only so much light that it could actually take in through the smartphone. Okay, so right now I am using my camera outdoors. This is in 4K mode. And as you're probably going to be able to tell if you especially look at this on a bigger monitor, whenever you're using a camera, the background is going to be blurrier, and also it's going to have a better look when it comes to the overall resolution. And this is really only something you could tell if you're having on a bigger screen. If you're watching this on a smartphone, then it's really hard to tell the difference between the two. So let's go ahead and look at this using our smartphone. So now I'm shooting this with my smartphone. I mean, this is in the 4K resolution, and as you can probably tell, everything is in focus. You don't have quite the same blurry background. And also, if you look at this on a larger monitor, then the resolution, even though it is technically the same, it's not going to quite have the same visual quality as you'll get whenever you're using a camera. And so that's my real world comparisons of using a camera versus a smartphone. And as you can tell by this video, cameras still have a huge advantage when it comes to overall video quality, the blurry background of bokeh effect, and low light performance. And so for me, if you want the absolute best video quality, cameras are still where it's at. But if you want to use the best camera that's with you all the time, then a smartphone cannot be beat. And at the same time, the technology continually gets better. And so if you actually had any thoughts on this, whether you're using a camera or your smartphone, or maybe you're using a little bit of both, be sure to leave that in the comments area below. And if you want to see more camera tips, tutorials, and thoughts, I will also leave my playlist in the description as well. So as always, if you did get value out of these videos, be sure to share, like, and subscribe. Hey geeks, if you are a creative geek like me and you wanted to learn how to create content on YouTube and other places on the internet, then check out my Gold Content Creators Group, where you'll get access to 30 videos plus additional content for all the creative geeks out there. And the best part of it is, all of this is free. Simply head over to the link below, check out my page, and sign up for my Gold Content Creators Group. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the other side. Thanks for checking out this episode. And as always, if you like these videos, be sure to click on the subscribe button. And for full written content, audio content, and additional geek stuff, head over to geekoutdoors.com, and I'll see you outdoors on the very next episode.